Blessings and greetings to you. I'm Pastor Barry Petrucci here with my COVID-19 Zoom background of the socially distanced seating in the sanctuary at Portage Chapel Hill Church. This sanctuary has been the place of my preaching and of the gathered body of worshipers at Chapel Hill for over 19 years of my ministry. It has been my privilege to pastor this regional congregation of primarily white, primarily middle to upper middle class folk of all ages. In these days since the second week of March, we've all been on a learning curve, right? Finding ways to be connected without being together, without being up close and personal. And everything we come up with seems like, well, a compromise, right? Well, in those early weeks of COVID, I got very tired. I got very tired of sitting in front of this digital screen down in my basement. I got tired. Something less than fully connecting with folks because body language and eye contact, it just was not optimal. So I got up out of my basement, that room with the lights and the camera and the computer, and I went outside. I went outside to breathe. A privilege that lots of folks don't have, but I am privileged. I went outside to walk, and then as I did the walk, I started doing the run. My body, my mind, my spirit has gotten stronger in those weeks since the shutdown for COVID. As a member, congregation, and pastor of Isaac, I was excited to see the virtual journey to DC. My walking, my running for me became a walk with a broader pilgrimage purpose. Pilgrimage, not just walking, not just running for no particular reason at all, but with direction, with purpose. So I am a white man born into privilege. Born in the lower Connecticut, New York tri-state area, my family and I moved to New York City's Queensboro when I was 4. I went to elementary school in largely second and third generation European immigrant sections of Queens. While there was always good-natured bantering between Italians, my dominant heritage, and Irish and German, and all who had some shade of white skin, I knew from the tone of the joking that our relationship to the coloreds was somehow different. The names were malicious, even when they came through the television screen and the sitcoms of the day, the ones that always brought the greatest laughter from my dad. All in the Family and the Jeffersons gave excuse for my father to give object lessons in the central difference between us and them. It was clear that us was better than them, and that us had worked to get where we are, and any privilege we had was somehow earned. Still, I was a little kid. Elementary school, I played at PS41 across culture and color, as little kids have an inspiring way of doing before the differences come crashing down. And then junior high came. Junior high came and I was bussed into that other neighborhood in Queens, and I was taught to be careful. I learned that careful meant watching the other. Long story short, I carry what I came to understand as my birthright. I am a privileged white middle-class, middle-aged preacher who knows what I have been and what I am. Racist. Oh, we used to soften the language, right? We called it biased, prejudiced. As we became more educated, we called it culturally insensitive. But I know what I am and what I am working to walk out of still. I went to privileged schools where we talked about race and held rallies and sensitivity training. I pastored in the wealthiest community in the country and did urban ministry in one of the poorer communities in Michigan and helped shape a church in Portage into a place where we are working on the questions. doing the educating, the studies, the small groups on anti-racism, and owning that we are privileged even as we work on the intersectionality of all the places we in the human race other each other. We're working on color, on culture, on income, on jobs, on housing, on sexuality and identity, on language and immigration status. They are all manifestation of ways privilege allows me to rise above and look, take a clinical diagnostic look at the problem, but that will not do. It will not do because Black Lives Matter, because for so long people of privilege have behaved in defiance of that truth. It will not do because people of power continue to execute that power in disproportionate ways against people of color. It will not do because God, however we understand God, minimally demands the creation to work, to do the work of justice for all, and we aren't there. I'm not there, and so I walk, I run, I march on Washington, where we gather together on the Mall to say justice demands more of all of us. I'm grateful for the journey Isaac keeps before us, before me, because as long a walk as this life has been, I am still a racist, still learning, still entering into relationships that change me, still on the pilgrimage, sisters and brothers, all believing it can, oh, it must get better.